live at sold-out Candlestick Park in San Francisco as the Lions and the 49ers renew their long-standing rivalry. A sellout crowd. Pat Summerall here with John Madden. And John, this crowd looking in anticipation of seeing two of the real true superstars in professional football.
I think the first one, you look at that Detroit sideline, you see number 20 there, Barry Sanders, who I think is the best running back in football right now. And you talk to the 49ers and say, what do you have to do? They say, we have to stop Barry Sanders. And it's interesting that most time when you have to stop a running back, you always think of stopping them on running downs. But on passing downs, you rush the passer. Now, the 49ers are not going to rush the passer today. Even on passing downs, the number one thing they're going to do is play draw and then rush the passer.
And on the other side of the field, number 80 commands all the respect in the world, Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice is going to be a Hall of Famer, and I think the 49ers are having a disappointing year. But the one thing you know, that anytime he gets his hands on the football, he's capable of scoring a touchdown with it. And I think if they're going to come out of this and do anything offensively, turn this season around, this guy has to be a big, big part of it.
Well, we approach the halfway point of this season. The Redskins and Saints remain unbeaten. I guess you'd have to say one of the real surprises would be the Lions at 5-1. And one of the big disappointments have been the 49ers with their 2-4 record. Unseasonably, unusually warm down on the field for this part of the country this time of the year or any time. Almost 100 degrees down on the playing field. And about an hour ago it was warmer than that. The last 6 meetings between these two have been decided by 7 points or less. Mel Gray, very, very dangerous back for Detroit. Kofor. Mel Gray out of the end zone. Flag on the play. Gray gets it back to the 22. 25-yard return of that line drive kickoff. Stopped by Greg Cox. Illegal block. Rodney Peete, the quarterback, third year from USC. Up in front of him, Lomas Brown, Andlesek, Glover, Utley, and Sanders. And the silver stretch, a form of the run and shoot. Sanders and Perryman, wide receivers on one side.
10-yard penalty.
Clark and Farr on the other side. Willie Green joins them. But now the Lions have another weapon. They have some tight ends that they use from time to time. They'll take over 1st and 10 at their own 12. The Lions' first possession. And if you haven't seen number 20, Barry Sanders, you're in for a treat. Larry Roberts was the first 49er to hit him. Here's Hope, Michael Carter, and Larry Roberts, the front three for San Francisco on first down anyway. Haley, DeLong, Jordan, and Romanowski, the linebackers. And the secondary, Lee and Griffin, the cornerbacks, Bowles and Weimer, the safeties. Second down. And 9. Hit by a bunch of 49ers is Brett Perryman just as soon as he made the catch.
You know, there's Tim Harris, Pat, number 92, who they just traded with Green Bay. They just picked him up. He played last week. Last week when he played the game was the first time he had on pads since the end of last season. And they started both he and Haley in this game. They started a four-man line, and they're playing Detroit in a nickel defense. Haley was playing as an inside linebacker.
Eric Tennell is lined up as the tight end to the left. Third and short, and Sanders gets the call. Hit short of the first down. Hit first by Roberts. Only got a yard. Carter with an assist.
Now That's one thing about Barry Sanders. He is not only a great running back, but he has to be a great running back when every guy on defense is saying, watch number 20, and he's the only guy in the backfield. It's not like there's a couple other guys there that can false key you. I mean, he's back there, and every eye in the defense is looking at him, and that time on third down, they stopped him.
So the Lions will have to punt. Back deep will go Jim Arnold. John Taylor back alone for the 49ers. Off the side of his foot, returnable. Taylor to about the 43. The 49ers take over behind the leadership of Steve Young. In front of him, Wallace, McIntyre, Jesse Sapolo, Roy Foster at right guard, Harris Barton the tackle, Jamie Williams opens at tight end. Dexter Carter and Tom Rathman, the two running backs, Rice and Taylor, the wide receivers. Taylor left, Rice right. Carter hit behind the line of scrimmage. Dennis Gibson hit Dexter Carter. They start with a three-man front. Spindler, Ball, and Owens. All big up front. Jamison, Spielman, Gibson, and Hayworth, the linebackers. In the secondary, Crockett and Jenkins, the corners. Blades and White, the safeties. There is Jerry Ball, all 300 plus.
And look how close he lines up to the center, Pat. He puts his helmet paint to paint with him.
Henderson. Big yards for Keith Henderson before he's brought down by William White. 25. And a 49er first down.
Watch him. He's going to start off here. He's going to get a lead block from Tom Rathman right there, number 44. See him knock his man down? That was the block that gave Henderson the hole and let him get through there. It was good line blocking, but the key block was by Tom Rathman.
And his teammates know it. George Seifert. First and 10. Henderson is the lone setback. To about the 26. Stopped by Jamison again, but a pickup of 5.
I think the areas that the 49ers are really trying to work on is their defense, stopping the run, their special teams, and then on offense, their running game. So you can say that they're starting here. They want to test this Detroit defense right away and say, if we put in 2 tight ends in on you and slug it out with you, can you stop us?
Second and 5. San Francisco at the Detroit 26. Henderson again behind Rathman, and another first down for the 49ers. The ball's loose, and the Lions come up with it. Benny Blades. Was he down? Apparently it's Detroit's football.
I think it is. That's what the 49ers been worried about last week. Dexter Carter fumbled early in the game the first time he carried the ball. Here they finally get a drive going. Boom, a good hit. It was the second man in who got that right arm in there. Did you see him and just, boom, just stripped that ball out of there.
That's Ray Crockett.
Watch the ball pop out here. You know, that's the thing you have to worry about when you're fighting for yardage. That gives more guys an opportunity to get in there and try and unlodge that ball. You see right there, he just pulled it out like a cork.
So the Lions will take over at their own 36. No score. We're in the first quarter. 10:23 left to play. Rodney Peete. Incomplete, intended for Clark. Mark Lee right with him.
They didn't look like they were on the same page there. Clark didn't look like he was looking for the ball, and as you said, Mark Lee was running step for step with them.
Mark Lee, after all those years in Green Bay, has seen this group many times before.
I know it, and that's perfect coverage. I guess they were just trying to throw it to him at any point in there, hoping that Lee wasn't looking.
2nd and 10. Flag down on the play as Pete has the ball deflected by Michael Carter. 2 flags.
The Lions are doing exactly what the 49ers want them to do. Usually you want to stop the run and make a pass. These guys have already done that.
Penalty against the 49ers.
I think the 49ers feel there's only one guy that can beat them, and that's
Defense,
Sanders.
number 91, lined up in a neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
The Saints beat Tampa Bay, and they remain unbeaten. Houston struggled against Miami, but won. The Jets even their record at 4-4. That one's not over yet. 2nd and 5 here at Candlestick. No score. Sanders hit behind the line of scrimmage by Pierce Holt. Boy, you talk about a rejection, but Pierce Holt is hurt.
Pierce Holt came into this game with a bad right knee. He missed a couple games early in the season. He said it was feeling pretty good. He hurt it again this week in practice. This time he gets penetration. Watch number 78 there. He's in the middle. He's playing as a tackle position. Watch the penetration. He's right there when Sanders tries to cut back. And you hope that he doesn't grab for his right knee, but he did. Now, if you watch Holt, you see him. If we stop it right there, you can see here's Holt. He's breaking through, and he's waiting right here for the cutback. Barry Sanders cuts back into him, and as he cuts back into him and hits him, he looks like he twists his right knee.
A loss of 4 yards, and again, John said you really hate to see that.
He's one of a real football player. I mean, This guy is a football. He only knows one way to play, and that's go 100%. And that right knee has been nagging him now for over a month.
And you just keep hoping he can come back, but you hope he doesn't come back too soon.
Yeah. A year from now.
Third down and about 9.
The 2 of the best run defenders on that 49er team were Pierce Holt right here and Kevin Fagan, who was also out. He had tension in his foot.
Rodney Peete back to throw it. Complete and no flag. Willie Green, the intended receiver. Don Griffin, the defender.
Well, they get happy when they cover a guy on 3rd down, don't they? One thing you can tell about the 49ers so far, they've had a lot of those team meetings, and one thing I know they had to talk about is let's show some emotion, because they're showing a lot of emotion early in this game.
4th down. Arnold back to punt. Taylor back deep for the 49ers. That's a dandy. At the 15. Flag again on the return. 48-yard punt.
It seems like just about every kick we see a flag now.
Oh, yeah.
That's been for 3 or 4 years. I think either the rule is too tight or the players are too reckless. I mean, something has to be. You can't have it on every kick.
On a return team. 10-yard penalty.
Howard Rowe, the referee.
Here it is right here. That's Harry Sidney, who they're calling, number 24. Again, it's where you start. See, now, I think that one's okay. the official has to see the whole act. If you start with your head in front of him, then it's legal, even if your head ends up behind him. Now, I thought Harry Sidney had his head in front of him. So maybe it's not the players. Maybe they're not too reckless. Maybe it's the officiating is a little too tight or not seeing the whole play.
Henderson is the lone setback. And he gets the call. To about the 15. Over across in Oakland, you can see smoke hanging over. It's a 6-alarm fire. And John, you know the area. You live close by.
Well, you see this whole area right up here. That's all smoke right there.
And on the field before the game, it was almost like a snowstorm with the ashes coming down from that fire. A 6-alarmer.
Yeah, and that's not really far from here. You know, Oakland is just on the other side of the Bay Bridge, about less than 10 miles from here where the fire is.
Second and 6, Carter to about the 20, stopped by George Jameson. Picked up 5. Barry Sanders.
One thing that he knows, and he told us last night, even if he doesn't get the ball early, or he doesn't do well, he's had the ball 3 times for -2 yards, he knows that eventually it's going to be there. Now, the runner is the best friend of a quarterback, but I also think the passing game is the best friend of a runner. If Detroit can loosen up the 49er defense, where they have to play pass, then Barry Sanders will be more effective running.
Jerry Rice has scored a touchdown against every NFC team except the one that they're playing today, Detroit. Sidney. Step back at Young to Sidney. Should be enough for a first down. Jenkins was the defender. They got 4 yards.
There's a guy who has a burden on his shoulders. You talk about having to take over for Joe Montana, the best quarterback that ever played football, and a team that has had so much success, 4 Super Bowls. And Steve Young has been doing a pretty good job, but I think personally that he's taken too much of the burden on his shoulders instead of relaxing, having fun, and letting some of the other guys take some of the burden too.
First and 10. First coming. Taylor almost got it around the corner. Here comes another penalty marker. Taylor gains 6 yards.
Chris Spielman hit him after he's out of bounds. I don't think that's what they're going to call. I think they're calling it against the 49ers.
They are.
49ers have been criticized for not running any reverses. They finally run one and they get a penalty.
Offense, number 81, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Holding call against the tight end, Jamie Williams. By the way, I've been informed that we're taking some minor hits, power failures because of that fire across in Oakland.
Let's watch Jerry Ball. This is always fun when you watch a nose tackle in the middle. I'll guarantee you Jesse Sapolo, the center, has an all-day job there. And they always have to get help. You're going to get him a little, but then someone better be in there to bump Jerry Ball, or he can run down a reverse. Look at him. He's figuring out where the blockers are going to come from next.
Well, they have him listed on the roster at 298. But when we were talking with Wayne Funtz about how much Jerry Ball really did weigh, he just sort of laughed, smiled, said he's up there. 328, maybe.
Yeah, and that could go up. You know, I mean, a couple of Saturday night meals, a couple of pregame meals, and you're anchored to that ground pretty good. But I'll tell you, he is a heck of a football player.
He really is. A great athlete.
Yeah, you talk to players, they'll always say he's the best nose tackle.
Flag on the play. It's stuck in one of the players' masks.
Good afternoon. This is Sherry Hu in the Eyewitness Newsroom with a special report. You're looking at live pictures right now. We're going to show you the enormous cloud of smoke over the Oakland Hills right now, which can be seen throughout the Bay Area. It's coming from a 6-alarm fire burning out of control in the Oakland Hills. People are being evacuated at this time. We've got confirmation of at least 3 homes damaged. 2 people are being treated for injuries at Highland Hospital. And highways 24 and 13 are closed in both directions around the Caldecott Tunnel, and BART has shut down train service between Lafayette and San Francisco. We'll have more later. Please stay with us.
Thanks.
Stuck in one of the players' masks. I had never seen that happen before. It was a good toss by the umpire.
If it's the guy he called it on, that's adding insult to injury. When you throw the flag, that gets you upset and you hit you in the face with it. That'll really make you mad. Let's watch Jerry Ball there. You see, I mean, he's so big and strong and then quick that the center can't do it himself. He needs help.
Block on number 62
There's
offense.
the flag.
Penalized half the distance to the goal line. Repeat first down.
Illegal block. They cut him below the waist.
Well, that was on Jerry Ball. That was a play we were just watching. See, Jesse Sapullo sets him up, and then they come down there and cut the nose tackle. Now, that's okay, unless they change the rule in the last day. That's been okay. Watch what Ball thinks of that. He takes the flag and threw it right in his eye.
1st and 27. Young back. Gets the ball out to Rice, and Rice spins around at about the 16. A gain of 11, stopped by Spielman.
You go back to that play. I always thought it was legal to cut a nose tackle. There's Jerry Rice. He just had to wait for the ball just a little longer than he had to when Montana was there. You know, when Joe Montana was there, boom, he would hit that thing and hit him on the run.
2nd and 16. Gerard was the man in motion. Young is going to come out of the pocket. Down at about the 25 by Melvin Jenkins. He gained 8.
They're very aware of Steve Young, Pat. In fact, as you watch Jenkins there, you'll see that a linebacker will just wait for him. They know that he's going to have a hole there. You see, once he sees that hole, Steve Young is going to take it. Once he sees that, he's going to take it. Now, once he takes that, boom, you have to have someone coming up right there that's going to make a play. And what they try and do is they try and get a triangle on him, a guy in front of him and a guy on both sides of him.
They'd like to be able to flush him if he comes out of the pocket to his right, not the way he went in. Because everybody wants to do that. Young to Henderson. And Henderson has got the first down outside the 40 to about the 44, a 19-yard gain.
That's a comeback from adversity. The 49ers, with all the penalties and everything that happened, I'll tell you, Steve Young brought them out of that adversity. Now they're out of the hole, getting towards the midfield. I'll tell you, he hit Henderson perfect on that play.
4:35 left to play first quarter. Young is 3 out of 3. Carter, not much. And now for an NFL update, let's send you back to New York, and here's Greg Gumbel.
Well, Pat, at Foxborough, Minnesota came this close to beating the Patriots in regulation time. David Poole pats the pass away from Anthony Carter. They went for the field goal instead, and with 8 seconds to play, they're tied at 23 at New England, Pat.
No score at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. George Seifert trying to get his team back on the track that they were on in years past. 2nd down at 8. Young is going to have to come out again, and does. Scramble for a couple. Chris Spielman.
Talking about 49ers saying they had to stop Barry Sanders. When you talk about the 49er running game, the Detroit Lions defense say the guy we have to stop running is the quarterback, Steve Young. If we can control and stop Steve Young from running, they feel they can take care of the running backs that the 49ers provide.
The 49ers for years now have been struggling, looking for a dominant ball carrier. But when they had that devastating passing attack, they didn't really need a dominant ball carrier. For Carter. Carter knocked out of bounds at about the 36-yard line of Detroit by Spielman. But a gain of 26.
Great pass protection, too, because Steve Young was able to pump that thing out there and then bring it back. See, Carter starts out in the backfield. He's working against Spielman. That's no match. He just holds him. Then he runs away from him in the flat. Gets a little block right there from Jerry Rice. And then you're going to see right there he goes out of bounds. I think right there, his left foot steps on the line. So he went out of bounds about 5 yards before he was hit.
49ers 3 out of 3 on third down in this drive. Here's Carter again behind McIntyre. And again, not to belabor it, but because of that huge fire in Oakland, we've been taking some electrical hits. And it's showing up, I'm told, wherever you're seeing this game. And I would imagine that'll continue as long as that fire continues.
Well, it was a 6-alarm fire, as you said, and I think they didn't have it under control. It was a 6-alarmer out of control. You can see the fire hovering over here.
Second down and 6 with a minute and a half to go in the first quarter. Young back to throw it, or maybe not. Glides out of bounds at about the 15, a scramble of 8.
Hey, Steve Young not only runs, but he has so much speed. Dan Owens, number 90, Steve Wallace was trying to block him. Owens was in pretty good position. He really had him contained, but the thing is Steve Young runs faster than he does. Watch him. He fakes there, comes out in the bootleg. Now watch number 90 there. See, he has him contained there pretty good. He gets a block from Wallace, but now he just can't run that fast.
San Francisco on this drive has run 11 plays and kept the ball 8 minutes. That's Sydney down to about the 10. Picked up 4, perhaps, stopped by Gibson.
Well, the 49ers this year have been haunted by that inside the 20, that red zone area. And now, every time you get down there, you have to think of that because the defenses really do get tougher.
Well, as you pointed out many times, John, you're seeing, once you get inside the 20, that red zone, you see more and more zone all the time.
And then it's that loose zone that just puts all those guys in the goal line, just dares you to throw it.
Sydney again. No gain. Spielman led the Detroit defense.
And I think the coaches are doing this too much. I think because of that, instead of coming up with ways to get in there, they're just kind of going give up, and they're running too much in this area and settling for field goals.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score. San Francisco nothing, Detroit nothing. Game 2 of the World Series is tonight. Last night, game 1 of the series in the bottom of the 5th. Minnesota leading 1-0. 2 runners on base. Greg Gagne at the plate. And here is Jack Buck with the call.
Pretty well hit. This ball is going to go.
Minnesota wins it 5-2. Tonight's pitchers in game 2 coming up tonight here on CBS. Third down, San Francisco. Ball is at the Detroit 11. No score. Carter goes in motion, and Young is back to throw. Tight end Jamie Williams at about the 1.
That's the way to do it. You just take your tight end, and Jamie Williams really didn't even run a pattern. Pat, watch him. He's on the left side of the screen, 81. He just runs down there and stops in the middle. You see, you don't go to the end zone. A defender was covering another guy, ran right past him. Jamie Williams just stood there and waited for everything to clear and caught the ball.
First and goal at the 1. Rathman and Sidney, the two runners. Harry Sidney. No official signal as yet.
That means it's not a touchdown because no one put their hands up. Pretty good goal line defense. That ball looked like it was marked right on the goal line there. Let's watch this. This is football. Everyone's trying to get down lower and the other guy gets down. Good lead block there by Rathman. Sidney, you can't see where the ball is. That's the key. The ball has to break the plane of the goal line before his knee hits the ground. So you have to be able to see his knee and the ball.
It's like they might review this one.
Yeah, they have to have something to review. Here we'll see if the ball breaks the plane first. The knee's down, the ball never broke the plane, so he had the ball in his left hand. If he had it in his other hand, he would have broke the plane.
Play stance is called on the field.
See, the ball's in the right hand. I mean, see, the right hand is still back and the left hand breaks the plane. So when the knee goes down, the ball hadn't crossed the plane.
So the play stands as called. Touchdown this time. About a foot out. Rathman.
When you get a foot, you ought to be able to give it to old Woody, and he'll get that foot for it. Jump. Again, the ball just has to break that plane. That still looked like pretty good defense, didn't it?
Did.
You know, I don't know if that ball ever does break any plane. From those pictures, it doesn't look like he ever got across anywhere.
That drive by the 49ers, 16 plays. They kept the ball almost 11 minutes. Gopher's extra point is good. It's 7-0. On a touchdown by Rathman, the 49ers take the lead. Back at Candlestick Park, the 49ers leading Detroit 7-0 as we just have begun the second quarter. Pat Summerall with John Madden. And Steve Young on the phone with the 49er intelligence group upstairs.
I'll tell you, the biggest thing about that drive is they overcame a lot of adversity, plus they kept number 20 for the Lions off the field. He's going to have to warm up again after that drive.
That's a big secret. Young, by the way, was 5 out of 5 in that drive.
George Seifert told us yesterday that that's what he wanted to do, was have long drives, ball control, and keep Sanders off the field.
Gopher's kick is going to be handled by Mel Gray at the 4. Flag on the play again. 2 flags. 24-yard return stopped by Donahue.
Look at these first quarter stats here, Pat. The thing that would really surprise you is the 73 yards rushing by the 49ers and a -2 by Detroit. Coming into this game, you said, hey, someone's going to rush for 73 yards in the first quarter and someone's going to rush for -2. You'd reverse the teams.
10-yard penalty.
You'd figure that Barry Sanders probably would have that much by himself. But as you pointed out before, it's hard for him to gain many yards when he's not on the field. 7-0, 49ers over the Lions.
Here's the full package. Watch Darren Jordan here. Nico Noga, number 51, is going to come up, block him, grab him, and face mask him. And that was the penalty. So Sometimes you say the officials are a little too tight. On that one, they weren't.
Here's Rodney Peete. The man open. Brett Perryman out of bounds, but deep in 49er territory.
And that was on the rookie. The 49ers are playing a rookie there, Merton Hanks. And he was out there man-to-man on Brett Perryman. Now, of all the Detroit receivers, Brett Perryman is probably the fastest guy.
They were glad to get him from New Orleans.
I'll tell you, he got out there and he got in a foot race with old Merton Hanks, and Hanks just didn't have a chance.
37-yard gain. 7-0, the 49ers lead. There's the ball at the Detroit 46. Peete, screen pass. Sanders, but it's Perryman. Again, there is a 6-alarm fire across in Oakland, across the water from Candlestick. And because of that, we're experiencing power failures from time to time. I understand that in some parts of the country right now, they can't see anything but stand by, please. And that's about all we can say.
It'll just be like the radio days, Pat. You just, you can even make up something. There he goes!
Well, the problem is you don't know when they're coming back. Here's Peete back to throw. And Mike Farr down at the 49ers 30. A gain of 14 and another first down for Detroit.
You know what the Lions are doing? Of course, they want to get the ball to Barry Sanders, run the ball to Barry Sanders, but they have to loosen the defense up first. So they ran Barry Sanders on the first 3 plays of the game, and since then, they've just been going to a passing game to loosen up this 49er defense.
First and 10, Detroit. The San Francisco 30. 49ers leading 7-0. Rodney Peete took outside, incomplete. Intended for Willie Green this time. Don Griffin was with him.
Well, Tim Harris is in there playing, and he's doing his talking already. Mike Utley went out there to block him, and Tim got into a talking contest with him after that.
I know who's going to win that one.
Tim Harris is one of the all-time talkers. When he came here, they told him to calm it down a little, and they put a clause in his contract that he'd get $100,000 if he didn't have any problems. That's a be good clause.
Second and 10.
Yeah, outside, Mark.
Option play. They get it out to Sanders. They leave it on the ground, and Sanders can do nothing. There's a flag on the play on the other side of the field. A loss of 4.
The NFL quarterbacks really don't like an option play. Rodney Peete doesn't like an option play. So if you don't like it, you're going to get rid of it as soon as you can. He got rid of that ball so quickly it looked like a pitch. I remember when I was coaching, I used to tell Stabler, I think we'll put in an option play. He says, you call it, I won't run it. Watch how quickly Peete gets rid of it.
I know what kind of reception you'd get from Stabler.
Automatic first down.
Penalty was on the other side of the field against the 49ers. Automatic first down. Just outside the San Francisco 25. 49ers leading 7-0. Fake is to Sanders. Harris hit Peete just as he got rid of the ball. Incomplete.
I think Tim Harris is having a hard time not pulling out his 6 guns or not shooting. He came there, and as you said, he comes from the backside of Peete. Rodney Peete has a bad hip. And watch number 92. That's Tim Harris. He has him zeroed in. He's going to get the free shot. He takes it. And Rodney Peete gets up limping. But watch how Tim Harris gets up. He wants to shoot those guns. He wants to do something. And that's the modified 6 guns. 6 shooters. 6 whatever.
No guns.
6 points. No guns.
Second and 10. Pete set to throw it. It's a catch by Mike Farr.
Hey, Rodney Pete got hurt on that play, Pat. He's had a bad hip all year, and when Tim Harris hit him there, that flared that thing up a little, because he really limped out of there slowly. And that was their roll and throwback. You know, they have a subtle little rollout. That was when he rolled left and threw back to the right.
He's still limping.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Third down and about 2 at the 17. Sanders behind Pete. And Rodney Pete could find no place to go. Dave Waymer blitz from his safety position, and there was nothing Rodney Pete could do. Harris with an assist.
Well, you know, that's that red zone we're talking about. I think that teams and coaches get down here and they get too conservative. I don't know what that play was. I mean, that looks like the kind of play that there ain't none of.
Or shouldn't be any.
Yeah, I don't think you would draw up something like that. It looked like it was some kind of quarterback draw. But the 49ers are not going to rush the quarterback today. They are not going to let you have draws.
37-yard field goal attempt by Murray. And it's good. And so the Lions get on the scoreboard with 9:48 left in the first half. 7-3 San Francisco. Next Sunday, John Madden and I venture down to New Orleans to see the Saints play host to the Chicago Bears. Excitement is at an all-time high in the Superdome as the Saints off to their best start ever. Next Sunday, it'll be a major test for them as Mike Ditka's Bears come to town. It's the Bears and the Saints next Sunday here on CBS. 7-3 the score at Candlestick Park. The 49ers lead Detroit. Murray set to kick off. Dexter Carter. Short kick. Spencer Tillman's going to handle it. Tillman to about the 33. 17-yard return. Toby Caston made the stop. Rodney Pete. His team just got a field goal and got on the board.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. Enterprise Rent-A-Car, the special delivery company. And by Budweiser, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
Candlestick Park sold out on people who live here just have never seen it that hot. Not just this time of year, but almost any time of year. Over 100 degrees down on the field.
Yeah, I was raised in this area, and I don't ever, the fog has always been here. It's always been cool in San Francisco. When it gets up over 100 degrees in San Francisco, you have a story. This is a record.
Steve Young. Outside to Sherrard.
John Taylor went in the locker room earlier, Pat. I think he ran that reverse, and I don't know if he got hurt on the reverse or not, but that's why Sherrard is playing now for John Taylor, who normally plays out here in this left end. He just runs a nice out pattern, and Steve Young led him perfectly.
First down, 49ers at their own 44-yard line.
Steve Young looks like he's starting to relax a little now, doesn't he? A little more in a flow instead of a herky-jerky fighting everything.
Word on John Taylor is that they have taken him in. He bruised his ribs on that reverse, and they're taking him in for x-rays.
You see the whole thing. I mean, his ball handling, his throwing the ball out there, getting the ball a little sooner. They were reviewing that one, but Sherrard did have both feet in. He really dragged that right foot.
After further review, play stands as called on the field. Completed pass for first down.
Young is now 6 out of 6. For 81 yards, no interceptions. Henderson stacked up, and a flag comes flying again.
Now, it has to be a face mask because every player down there, you can hear them all. The thing's starting, the guys are yelling, face mask, face mask. I think it was Roy Foster who was yelling it.
Against Detroit. San Francisco leading 7-3.
Illegal hands to the face
9-18.
defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Tracy Hayworth.
And they were running right at Tracy Hayworth, so you're going to see him right down here, number 99. See what he did. I think there's just a bunch of guys running at him. He looks like he's just fighting for his life. He was getting spun around, going sideways and back. You just grab or push anything you can.
Looking for a handle.
Yeah. Looking for a place to land.
Young outside to Sherrard. Sherrard out of bounds. That should be close to a first down. William White knocked him out.
You're getting this whole thing. It looks like Steve Young got that flow that he's hitting his receivers a little quicker now. You see, you catch a corner playing off like that. Ray Crockett was off about 10 yards. Then, boom, you take that thing. It's just a little quicker, a little hitch pattern. Boom, throw it out there. Make him get up there. If he comes up, then you can go deep on him.
Second and about a foot. Sidney. About the Detroit 31, stopped by Dan Owens. But a gain of 8.
I think Tom Rathman hurt himself blocking on that play. Tom Rathman, one of the real good blockers, but in becoming a good blocker, he gets a lot of stingers. And you see, that's what it is right there. His right shoulder, you hit, and it hits the shoulder, and then it stings, and your whole arm goes numb. Watch him. You see 44 there? Right there in the contact, he got a stinger down his right arm. I think he leads the league in stingers too. Guys from Nebraska usually do.
He had the stinger all last year. Again, this time to Dexter Carter. And as hot as it is, if they can keep running those fresh backs in there.
This is a special report from the Eyewitness Newsroom. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Doug Murphy. If you live anywhere in the Bay Area, you know it right now. Something is going on, and it is a major 6-alarm, out-of-control fire in the East Bay Hills. This is a picture from Chopper 5. It is in a moment they will get the camera out the window, and we will show you a picture. But the plume of smoke has spread all over the Bay Area. This fire started today. These are some ground pictures you can see that were taken about an hour ago. The fire started today near the Caldecott Tunnel. It has spread rapidly. There are reports now that up to 45 homes have been engulfed. In the East Bay, in the area of the fire, you can hear explosions, which could be homes, which could be automobiles, that are going up in this intense fire that is out of control and continues to spread. We have some information as far as evacuations go. The area of evacuation that's being reported is from Grizzly Peak to Claremont, and that is above the Warren Freeway. Also, about 12:30 today, they called for the evacuation of the Claremont Hotel. The flames at that point probably were only about 50 feet up the side of the hill. Very expensive homes in the Oakland Hills there, very heavy brush that from 5 years of drought is very dry and ready to go. The wind conditions this morning have really contributed to what we have right now. Winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour, very low humidity, a very hot day, a tinderbox out there, and it has gone up, and it is spreading rapidly. Let's give you a little more information that we have. There are reports of 9 injured. East Bay hospitals are on what is called a code yellow. They are ready to take any injured, but so far reports only of 9 injured. Evacuation centers have been set up in the East Bay. An evacuation center set up at Emerson School, at Oakland Tech High School, and at Claremont School. Those 3 evacuations. These more pictures, we can't get in close for pictures because it is a restricted area because they have the firefighting equipment in the area right now. Highway closures, and there are a number of them. Of course, as you might imagine, the Caldecott Tunnel is closed in both directions. Firefighters actually in Contra Costa County are standing by right now in case the fire spreads to the other side of the tunnel. The Warren Freeway is closed. If you're coming down 580, forget about getting on Highway 13. It's closed completely. The best idea right now is just to stay in your house. If you're not in the fire area, stay home because the traffic in the Bay Area is absolutely terrible. Also closed right now is BART. BART service to Contra Costa County has been closed. As we said, once again, we have, these are live pictures, by the way, coming from Chopper 5 of the fire. Of course, they are, you can just see smoke now, a long ways off, as we have to stay out of the way of all the emergency helicopters and aircraft that are trying to get into the area. Again, it's a 6-alarm fire. It's out of control. Many people are out there right now watering down their houses. Some of the fire people have been suggesting that if you do smell strongly the smoke, if you want to water down the house, that would be a good idea. If you have been told to evacuate, get out as soon as you can. Once again, a 6-alarm fire burning out of control in the Oakland Hills. We have crews on the streets. We will be bringing you the latest as it comes into us. This has been a special report from Eyewitness News.
And as hot as it is, if they can keep running those fresh backs in there, the 49ers, these guys are going to get tired on defense.
And how about Jerry Ball? I mean, those are, you know, I always say it's a nice day. Now, the receivers like this kind of day. I'll guarantee you Jerry Ball hates this kind of day. The one thing that he has going for him is he's wearing a white jersey. That's the only thing. But I'll guarantee you, you're looking for some oxygen. And you get down in this heat,
boy.
And the 49ers having the ball for as long as they've had it.
And you weigh 320 plus. He does fill up a chair, doesn't he?
That's how you earn your money.
Here's Young back to throw. And now you hate this too, having to chase this guy. Dan Owen chased him out of bounds. There's Jerry Ball.
You can just tell them, you know, anytime the quarterback runs, you just say they hate that. You know, you'd like them just to get down there and play man on man and run right at you. Well, when you have to run one runway and then turn and go the other way, sometimes your body's saying, hey, there they go, but your body just won't go there. In a little while, he's going to start calling for Earl.
John Taylor, I mentioned a minute ago, went in for bruised ribs. They must be okay because he's back. Young is back. Taylor out of bounds at about the 20. Melvin Jenkins chased him out. Picked up 7 yards.
Watch Taylor here. See, that's an option. You go in. If there's a guy playing inside, see 24 was waiting there. He stopped when he saw him, and then he goes back out. If he were playing him to the outside, he would have kept going in. That's an option route.
Steve Young has been perfect. 8 out of 8. 1st and 10. Henderson. To about the 13, stopped by Benny Blades. A 7-yard gain again. Clock running, 6:20 left to play in the first half.
Chris Spielman missed a tackle there. He had him right on the line of scrimmage. He had him perfectly. And then Henderson put a move on him. Just watch out here to the right. You watch 54 coming. See 54 for Detroit coming there. He's going to have great position. You see that? Henderson cut back. He missed and picked up another 5 yards. Chris Spielman is a linebacker.
That's Rathman over the left side to about the 11. You said he's a linebacker. Now he has he said his father was a coach, and he just, when he was younger, he walked out on the practice field and his father said, you go down there with the linebackers. He said, who are they? You just go down there. That's where you belong.
It's just so he was like a 4-year-old kid. He was being trained to be a linebacker, and he said that's all he wanted to do all his life is play football. And he said when he can't play anymore, he wants to coach and then die. That's it.
Jerry Ball getting a rest. Intended for Rice. A flag on the play again.
Yeah, Jerry Rice, you know, we've talked about how they have to get the ball to him. You have to get it in his hands. He's only caught 1 pass today, but Steve Young has been having a heck of a day. That's the first incomplete pass he's thrown, isn't it?
Yes. But again, there's a penalty marker down.
And it's not only that statistically that he looks so good, but he looks a lot looser or freer or something. Like
more confident.
Yeah, like his shoulder pads aren't as tight, or his jersey's not as tight, or his helmet's not as tight on his head.
That helps. The discussion continues about the penalty. Probably an illegal pick.
Offensive pass interference, number 82, 10-yard penalty, repeat, third down.
And you were right, that's it. Number 82 is John Taylor, and he's going to come in and make a pick for 80. You see right there, he's blocking. See, he blocks his man. If we look at it right here, he blocks so that Rice can come free here if he blocks him, so that they can't switch off to get him up there. See, then he can just run away from his own man. See him right there. And then he picks another guy, too. It's hard to tell if the guy's really trying to run a pattern or really trying to pick someone.
On third down, Young back to throw. Not necessarily in his case. He's got enough for a first down. Down at about the 10. Stopped by Crockett.
Look at Benny Blades telling him something there. He's going to end up short there.
Yes, he is.
Let's see why he didn't throw it here. If he could have held it a little longer or had a little more thing, he could have had Jerry Rice there if his other receiver would get out of the way. Anytime Steve Young sees this hole, he's going to take it. Now, they say don't be so tough at the end of the run, but sometimes you have to get the first down. See, they're that much short. Now, this puts the pressure on the coach. Do you go for it or kick the field goal? I would think 7-3, you would kick the field goal. I think George Seifert says at 2 and 4, we're going for it.
I think you're right. Barry Sanders hadn't had a chance. The 49ers have kept the ball the whole first half.
That's one way to stop a great runner. Just play keep away from him.
Sanders has 3 carries for -2 yards. 49ers are going. Sidney and Rathman. Sidney around the corner. He's going to score. Kofor will try the extra point. Joe Prokop is the holder. And so the 49ers increase their lead to 14-3. 11 plays, 68 yards.
This game summary is sponsored by Bud Light.
The 49ers leading 14-3. Look what they've done with Detroit's rushing offense and with Barry Sanders. -2 yards. Steve Young 8 for 8, 97 yards. 49ers have kept the ball over 18 minutes.
This is the most impressive that I've ever seen Steve Young.
Yep, I agree.
Because usually he looks like, you know, a nose tackle playing quarterback, but today he looks like a golfer playing quarterback.
Mel Gray back deep for Detroit. Kofor's kick will be handled at the goal line. Gray wrapped up by Hanks way back at about the 6-yard line. Steve Young even looks confident on the phone. 14-3, his team leads.
You know what I think the key to the touchdown was, Pat, is here's Jerry Rice. Crockett just covers him. Rice gets a good block. Rathman gets a good block. And Sidney runs to the outside. But see, when you put Jerry Rice there and he gets a block, that gives you two things. The guy he blocks plus the guy that has to cover him. They just stay there.
Pete back to throw it to Mike Farr. After about the 21. Lynn Styles.
I tell you, he's taking a lot of heat this week because the 49ers special teams were terrible last week against Atlanta. But watch him on this last kickoff. He got a bunch of guys going down there like fanatics. That's what he used to tell him, you know, play special teams like with fanaticism. And those guys went down there like fanatics, and there's a happy coach now.
First down, Detroit. Perryman was the man in motion. Deep in time this time and overthrows the intended receiver, Willie Green. New England in overtime. As time expired, defeated Minnesota 26-23. And those of you who saw that exciting victory by the Patriots, welcome to Candlestick Park. Pat Summerall with John Madden, where the 49ers lead Detroit 14-3 with 3:37 left to play in the first half. Second down, Detroit.
Jerry Ball, he has stuff written all over his hand. You got to know which way to go and which way to shade, what stuff to take away.
He has the ball deflected. It's still complete to Farr. Todd Bowles made the stop. The 49ers have controlled the game clock, and they have kept Detroit, and most particularly Barry Sanders, off the field. Touchdown by Sidney, a touchdown by Rathman.
I think the big story is the fact that Barry Sanders has only carried the ball 3 times for -2 yards. That was the first goal of the 49ers to do. You don't think they can do it, but they've done it so far.
Here's Sanders. High steps it, knocked out of bounds by Don Griffin.
You know, I think everyone knows, including Barry Sanders, Wayne Fonts, his coach, all his linemen, the defenders, that it's just a matter of time.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you can't say, oh boy, we got him stopped now. I remember we used to do that against Franco Harris. You know, Franco Harris would run to the Steelers 3 or 4 times. You'd stop him. Someone would say, oh, we got it. And then boom, he'd hit you on a 70-yarder.
You just know it's going to happen.
These kind of guys, you never stop. You hope you control them a little. You never stop them.
Pete to Perryman. Out of bounds at about the 32. 18-yard pickup.
I think that's the second time they've caught one on Merton Hanks, number 36 for the 49ers, who's a rookie. I think that Rodney Peete and the Lions are looking, you know, who do we have? Who is Merton's covering? Let's go after him.
First and 10, Detroit at the 49er 32. That'll be the 2-minute warning with the 49ers ahead 14-3. Back at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, 14-3, the 49ers lead Detroit. Pat Summerall with John Madden. That's the timeout situation. And it seems to be getting warmer.
It's unbelievable. The temperature's going up. It's over 100 degrees. And if you look at those flags, the wind is starting to blow, and it's blowing the smoke into the stadium.
This is Pete to Jeff Campbell. A fumble. The referees have already indicated it belongs to the 49ers.
Jeff Campbell was the guy who caught the ball, and the way he got up and shook his head and walked off the field, you know that he did. they were working on Merton Hanks, number 36, and I think he's the guy that's going to get the ball. See Hanks, 36 there? He comes in and strips it. You see him take that arm? Just bring that tomahawk down there right on the ball.
And he made the recovery also.
Right, he's the guy that they were working on, and he came up with a big play to get it back. Two big plays, knocking the ball out and then finding it there.
Detroit's first turnover. Trying to get around the corner, might have gotten a couple of yards. One perhaps. Clock still running, 1:40 left first half.
Steve Young was trying to get the 49ers to go no huddle. He was trying to get him to line up. They wouldn't line up, so he had to take a timeout.
1:38 left to play. Young is going to visit the sideline. Coming up on the NFL Today, the Dockers halftime report. Greg and Terry with all the scores, the highlights, and latest information from around the league. Here at Candlestick Park, 49ers lead 14-3, and now that smoke is starting to settle over the stadium a little bit. Sort of an eerie look in the...
Yeah, it's a whole different color out there on the field, and then the ashes are coming down.
2nd and 9. Young. That's to Rice. Taken down by Spielman.
I know that Young is relaxed and he has time. When he is pointing, he had time to get back there and watch and point and direct and still throw the ball and now go no huddle.
Back to throw it again. He has Rathman outside the 35 and out of bounds by Jamison.
Yeah, one thing Steve Young has really had good protection. He's going to take a hit right here after he throws the ball, but for the most part, he has had excellent pass protection this first half.
Second down and about a yard.
The color from here and over the field is a form of green.
Yeah. Strange looking. Another 49er first down as Rathman gets it from Young, and he is still perfect.
I think this is what Steve Young would like to do, is take a no huddle, end the game, end the half, take the 49ers down and get a score.
50 seconds left, first half. Got Taylor. Taylor out of bounds at about the 2.
The 49ers have been talking about all week about leadership. They need a leader. They need this and that. I think what they need is someone to play like a leader, and I think they're finding it now in Steve Young. This is what they wanted. No huddle. Keep your composure. Find an open guy like John Taylor. Hit him in stride with the ball and get a big score just before you go in the locker room.
First and goal at the 2, a 51-yard pickup. Young is 12 out of 12, and this is another San Francisco timeout. They have one left.
Here's John Taylor here. Now just watch what happens to him. They're going to be a double zone where you go here and the safety has to get over here. I think the safety, White, watches Young too long out of respect. He lets Taylor get here and then run right by him. See, it's trying to be a double zone. They're trying to run a double zone. But right now, Taylor is even with White. And then White can't get over there. I think he looked too long at Steve Young.
First and goal. Here's Young. Touchdown. Jerry Rice. And now he has scored against every team in the NFC.
bootleg. Jerry Rice is a deep guy. He hits him right on that back or end line. I think those two guys both needed that play.
That's Benny Blades of the Lions, who's still down.
I tell you, they're getting awfully close to hitting Steve Young late. Watch this here. He comes in a roll. The ball is gone and throwing. They're still going after him. They're getting closer and closer. They'll be getting a flag on that.
Blades back in the back of the end zone.
Wayne Fonts was telling us that Benny Blades was having his best year this year.
Young to Rice, the 2-yard touchdown. Here comes Wayne Fonts. 6 plays, 88 yards. The 49ers took it. They have controlled the first half.
And I think when they were talking about their problems and needing leadership and missing Joe Montana and all those things were probably true, but a leader has to stand up, and I think that type of drive in that situation is what Steve Young and the 49ers needed.
That's what they all talk about. That kind of drive. Benny Blades headed for the sideline. San Francisco's had the ball 19 minutes and 15 seconds. Detroit 10:03. Kofer for the extra point. His holder is Joe Prokop. And it's 21-3 with 39 seconds left to play in the first half. See what happened to Blades.
Well, you're going to see him. He's on the bottom of the picture right here. You let it run. You see the rollout. Jerry Rice is the deep guy. Benny Blades is right there on the goal line.
Don't forget, tonight it's game 2 of the World Series. The Minnesota Twins lead 1-0, having won last night by the score of 5-2. It all starts at 8 o'clock Eastern with baseball 91. And there are the starting pitchers for tonight. Game 2. The Twins won the first game. And that's, of course, all coming up on CBS.
Well, we had said earlier that Jerry Rice had caught a touchdown pass against every team in the NFC except Detroit, and he just did that. And look what else he's doing. All-time reception leaders. He is now 1 behind Don Maynard. I think Steve Young needed that, but I also think Jerry Rice needed that.
He was getting very frustrated. That's Mel Gray at the goal line. To about this 25-26 perhaps.
This is a new special teams, a different special team. In fact, it's a totally different 49er team than a week ago against Atlanta. This is a well-prepared, a highly efficient, very emotional 49er team. And I'll tell you, last week against Atlanta, they were just the opposite.
The Saints, however, remain unbeaten. And Houston over Miami. Jets beat Indianapolis. Overtime, New England over Minnesota. Seattle beat Pittsburgh. Rodney Peete chased out of the pocket. Out of bounds. Stops the clock with 27 seconds left to play in the first half.
Yeah, the 49ers have just smothered this Detroit Lion team today, and not as much the defense against the offense, but the 49er offense just keeping the ball and not letting the Lions have it. And then when the Lions do get it, they're like 3 and out. Either the 49ers stop them or they have a turnover.
Barry Sanders has only 4 carries.
I tell you, at some point, no matter how great you are, you have to get frustrated. And this is the point that Barry Sanders could start to get frustrated.
Draw play to Sanders.
Way to hold up for you.
Out of bounds about the 34. Today, in the second quarter, look what's happened with the 49ers. In the first 6 games, they were outscored 56 points to 35.
Yeah, that's where they've been having their problem, was in the second quarter, because in the second half, they really outscore their opponents. So the games they lose, they have to be losing them in the second quarter, but not today.
3rd and 2. Sanders. Nothing doing. Jackson, no gain. Tim Harris, a little conversation with Barry Sanders.
I'll tell you, Johnny Jackson gets up and says he ought to take a timeout, and he should take a timeout. Because if they stop the clock now, make Detroit punt, then you get another timeout at change of possession, so the 49ers can get yet another shot at the Lions. I think the Detroit Lions and Barry Sanders and Wayne Fonts and that group are going to have to go in and kind of say, okay, that half is over. Let's go out and play a whole new half, because this has been a nightmare for them. This is one they'd want to forget.
Arnold back to punt. Sanjay Beach standing back for San Francisco. Detroit's 0 out of 4 on 3rd down. They're going to punt. Another good one. And Detroit downs it at about the 15, but after 46 yards punt, time expires. Detroit trailed San Francisco 21-3.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Delta Airlines, we love to fly, and it shows. And by Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Lead Detroit 21-3. 16 first downs to 7. 184 passing yards, 120 rushing yards. That's the big shocker. And, of course, the ever-important time of possession. 49ers almost 20 minutes. The Lions 10:42.
I think the two biggest things that surprises me is Steve Young being perfect in that first half, and that's as well as I've ever seen Steve Young play. I said that earlier, and maybe that's as well as I've ever seen any quarterback play in the first half. That, and the fact that on the other side that Barry Sanders really hasn't been a factor.
So that's the situation at the half. The 49ers leading Detroit 21-3.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. First Brands Corporation, makers of Prestone Advanced Formula Antifreeze. And by Coors Light, the silver bullet is the right beer now.
Steve Young, who was perfect in the first half, 13 out of 13. And again, there's a big fire 6 alarmer we heard earlier in the day, and they tell me it's still out of control across in Oakland, and that huge smoke cloud hanging over the stadium. And one piece of blessing about that, John, is that it's cooled things off considerably down on the field.
Well, you know, it's cooled things off, one, because I think the cloud of the smoke has come over the stadium, and then the wind is picked up to bring the smoke right here over the stadium. 2 local San Francisco writers that I know, I just saw them, Art Spander and Ira Miller, are both leaving the stadium now to go home because they live in that area, and their homes in their area have been evacuated.
The San Francisco police earlier
and fire department were asking with help to evacuate people. So very unfortunate situation. Detroit to kick off to begin the second half. Sanjay Beach brings it out of the end zone. Gets it out to about the 20. Kevin Scott made the stop for the Lions. 21-3, San Francisco leading at Candlestick Park.
You don't think they've been holding Jerry Ball a little? Look at the top of the 3 on 93. Someone got a hold of the front of that jersey and just ripped part of the number off. See, and he has a clean back. When you weigh 328 pounds, you better have a clean back. You should never go backwards.
Henderson with some room out to about the 25. A gain of 6.
This offensive line of the 49ers has done an excellent job of pass protection and run blocking. I think the fact that 49ers, gained 120 yards rushing in the first half is a big thing.
Bring up 2nd and 4. That's what the offensive linemen like, though. That's the part of the enjoyment of the game that they really appreciate. Run blocking.
Yeah, then if they can do that, then they can tee off on their guy. They don't have to play soft and back up all the time. Then that makes pass protection a lot easier.
2nd and 4. Dexter Carter. Dived for close to a first down. Melvin Jenkins knocked him out.
Hey, look what Steve Young has done. He's really moved the ball around. At 5 yards or less, he's thrown 5 times. 6 to 10 yards, he's thrown 5. And then 11 to 19, 2 for 2, and then over 30, 1 for 1. So he spread the ball up and down the field.
And as we've said before, he's perfect. 13 out of 13.
And those guys up in front have had a lot to do with him being perfect. Led by Steve Wallace, I think the left tackle, one of the best tackles in the game.
Young throws it outside of Williams. That's a collision. Melvin Jenkins made the stop.
And I think when Jamie Williams catches a ball, he's a big 250-pound tight end who is mostly a blocker. When he catches one, he doesn't get that many. But I'll tell you, the thing that he's going to do is he's going to make that guy pay. One thing, all receivers like to catch a low pass. They don't like anything up above their shoulders because they have to reach up. And Steve Young has been working on getting the ball down lower as he did that time.
2nd and 5 at the 35. This is Henderson. Not much doing. He did scramble around for about 4 yards. George Jamison and Chris Spielman made the stop.
The reason a receiver likes a low pass is because then he always has everything gathered together. And in Jerry Rice's case, he can catch that low ball and not break a stride, so you can run through things. You don't have to stop. You don't have to go up. You have all your parts kind of gathered together to make moves after the catch.
Ribs aren't exposed, so you're not going to take any shots there. 3rd and 1. Detroit blitzing. Jamie Williams kept his balance. Finally knocked out of bounds by Gibson. Hurt.
I was saying what was interesting yesterday is when we were talking to Steve Young, Jamie Williams came in and told him, hey, I want to see you after you're done here. I wonder if this is what they were talking about. One thing, Steve Young is learning that he's not always going to his primary receiver. You see that time? He looked outside to the left and came back to his tight end, crossing the middle.
1st and 10, San Francisco at the Detroit 45. 45, sorry. Ball yelling instructions. Rice. He does attract the crowd.
What do you think Ball was yelling? I saw him. Nose tackles usually don't give instructions, but like you said, he was giving instructions when the ball was snapped. And he looked like he was giving instructions to his defensive backs or someone out there. Watch him. You see before the ball snap, what's 93 in the middle? He's looking back. He's giving instructions to the whole group. Watch that guy. You watch him. Look out. They're going to throw there. It was like, you take that side, I'll take the whole rest of the field.
He does get close to the center, doesn't he? 2nd and 7. Dexter Carter gets a block from Young and gets it around the corner. Knocked out of bounds by Melvin Jenkins.
Young gets up a little slowly.
Yeah. That's a block he didn't want to make, I don't think.
Well, no, that's what George Seifert said. He doesn't run the reverse because Montana got hurt with it. That one there, I think, was his own fault. He missed the handoff. Either that or Carter went the wrong way, and they ran into each other. Then he was forced to make a block. I'll tell you, when Jerry Ball's in there, there's not going to be much room to run. He's going to plug up that middle. And maybe that's why Carter and Young ran into each other. They were looking at that big mess of guy.
They got a first down. Henderson. And he gets to about the 30.
They're running right in there at Jerry Ball. But when he's in there, he's going to get double teamed. Watch him here. There goes 2 guys. They block him. He's just going to push off both of them and then get back up in there. Although they did get him going backwards a little.
Yeah, they did. 2nd and 7. 49ers on the march again. 2nd and 7 at the Detroit 31. Young finally has one. Incomplete, and that was high, and that's the one you don't want to catch. 16 out of 17 he is now.
Yeah, he was throwing the ball. We were just talking about how he was throwing the ball low and how you don't want to throw one high and you don't want your receiver to be exposed and all that. Then, boom, he throws this one to Wesley Walls, and look why they don't want it high. I think Wesley Walls has to come over there and check his parts. You know, you can go out on a pass punt and you get a high one like that, you can lose some stuff.
You sure can. Flag on the play as Young takes off. Another flag. That's way late. Way out of bounds. Melvin Jenkins.
They're going to get Jenkins on that one. I don't know what the first one is, but Mike Sherrard was really open. If Steve Young seen Mike Sherrard down the left side, he would have had a touchdown.
14-yard run by Young.
George Seifert told Steve Young this week that he didn't want him to be Bronco Nagurski at the end of the runs. Maybe he was trying not to. He ran out of bounds, and the guy made him be Bronco Nagurski.
Offsides, number 81 lined up in the neutral zone. Personal foul, late hit on a quarterback, 15-yard penalty into the run. By rule, 5 versus 15, penalized at 15 yards and a first down.
That's a new rule they put in, and it's not bad because Jamie Williams lined up offsides does not give the defense a right to go after someone. See, if they didn't have that rule in, then when a guy lined up offsides, then you could just go do anything to anyone. See, the official's right there, though, and he was blowing the whistle. So when you hear the whistle, you got to stop. See, the key here is, you see the one thing here, he really hits him when he's in bounds. But now you see number 8, the official, he's starting to blow the whistle and wave the thing. So he had to say that he didn't stop when the whistle blew, which is a difficult thing to do.
So it's a first down, 49ers at the Detroit 16. Jerry Ball gets a little rest. That's Henderson. He's down to about the 11 before he's knocked backwards by Spielman and others.
The guy's been out there all day is Spielman. I think the 49ers, more than anything, have just done an excellent job of playing keep away, which means they've kept Detroit offense off the field and they've kept Detroit defense on the field.
They just wear them down. 2nd and 6 coming up.
Spielman, you see his jersey's out. He got the dirt all over the plate. He looks like a linebacker. In fact, I guess his locker area looks like a linebacker's locker. They have a condemned sign on it.
Rathman to about the 9, 8 maybe with that last surge. Spielman again on the stop.
I mean, that's what he plays for. He just plays to be a linebacker, just to take on blocks and tackle ball carriers and be in on action. Now, you talk about guys that love the game. There are a few of them that really love it, and I think this guy's one of them. And some guys play because they get paid. Some guys enjoy it when things are going well, and some guys just love to play football no matter what the situation.
And he's one of them.
He had his thumb taped yesterday. I said, hey, what's wrong with your thumb? He said, it's broken. Just like, so what? What's the matter with you? What's wrong with my thumb? It's broken.
What do you think it was? 3rd and 2. Young slips around the corner, slips to perhaps the 2-yard line before he's stopped by Jenkins. Got a run of 7 and a gain of 7.
Hey, Young made that one because he didn't get a good block from Steve Wallace's left tackle. But a quarterback can use a ball to get guys off their feet. You see him bounce around. Now watch him come back up, and he does that. You see, and that gets the guy stop running, and it gets him off his feet, gets him up in the air, and that bought him 5 yards and a first down.
1st and goal from the 2, 7:15 left to play in the 3rd quarter. His 2nd of the day. Rathman gets in from 2 yards out.
That'll bend the coach over. Been a long day, and I'll tell you, it's tough when you don't have the ball. But this 49er offense, everything has been perfect for him today. Perfect blocking on that left side. Good hard running by Woody Rathman and a touchdown.
That guy McIntyre got a great block. Blocked 2 men out in front. 7:57. The 49ers kept the ball. 12 plays. They went 80 yards.
Here's Tom Rathman. He's the ball carrier. Watch Guy McIntyre. He'll be the lead blocker. Guy McIntyre makes a good block, but he has a little subtle hold. Watch the arm right there. That'll always help take a defender down and open a hole.
Rathman's 2nd touchdown of the day. It's 28-3 in favor of the 49ers.
When you're an 8-year veteran like Guy McIntyre, you call that a subtle hold.
Well, he said this game was last week was important. This week is more important. Double important.
He said this is a gotta game. Last week we had to win. This week you gotta win.
Campbell. The kickoff return about the 23. Darren Jordan made the stop. 16-yard return. 6:54 left, 3rd quarter. Game 2 of the World Series is tonight. Last night, Game 1. Minnesota Twins trying to put the game away in the bottom of the 6th inning. Twins leading 4-0. Kent Herbeck is at the plate, and here is Jack Buck's call.
Did he hit it good enough? He certainly did.
There's Rodney Peete. Incomplete and knocked away by Weimer.
There's Jerry Wampler. He's the offensive line coach of Detroit. You have different ways of teaching players during a game, but you have to show them what's going on. And you have to show them how you want to block. And you have to show them what they're doing to you. And that's what coaches do. They have Polaroids on the sideline and they have chalkboards so they can always show what's going on.
2nd and 10 Detroit at their own 23. There's Rodney Peete back to throw again. And again it's deflected and picked off. Mark Lee with the interception. And the 49ers will take over deep in Detroit territory.
Hey, the 49ers are having a complete day today. It's the whole thing, Pat. It's the offense and control. It's the defense making things happen, stopping them, getting turnovers, and it's the special teams. See Michael Carter get up on that?
Yes, I did. San Francisco takes over. Candlestick Park in San Francisco, covered by smoke and ashes now from that fire over in Oakland. A 6 alarmer, still out of control, they say. This is Sydney. Inside the 30, about the 29, a gain of 2. Stopped by Chris Spielman, William White.
Now, I wonder, Steve Young's dad, as he watches him play, you wonder what he thinks when he was a kid. It was his first son, and he didn't want him to be left-handed. He started, as a baby, you were asking, when did you decide you were left-handed? He said, well, when he started doing something, his dad tied his left hand behind his back and made him do things right-handed. He said, but he was just a natural left-hander, and the only thing he does right-handed is play golf.
He said his dad finally settled on him just being an athlete, a good athlete.
Yeah, he said he saw he was going to be a good athlete, be a good left-handed athlete.
To Rice. Stopped by Crockett. A gain of 6. Well, they had 1 fumble. Otherwise, things have been just about as well as you could design them.
That's perfect. If they hadn't fumbled that first one, they probably would have scored then, too. They have not punted yet today. And I think the big thing, it's kept this guy off the field. I mean, this is, remember you used to play keep away or that stuff as a kid? The 49ers are just playing keep away today with the Detroit Lions.
Melvin Jenkins is the injured Lion on the far side of the field. So 5:17 left to play in the 3rd quarter. San Francisco 28, Detroit 3. Back at Candlestick, Jerry Rice on the sideline. He fell in a rather awkward way after he caught that last pass.
Yeah, if you look right here as he's being tackled, and you watch when he plants the foot right there, the leg looks like it goes in an awkward position. In fact, he almost let go of the ball. I think maybe it scared him and the coaches and trainers more than anything because they just took him out of the game.
Sidney in motion. Here comes Young out of the pocket to his right, chased by Spielman. And right now, for an NFL update, let's send you back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, right down the coast in the Battle of L.A. Jim Everett to Vernon Turner for 19 yards. Watch him fight his way into the end zone. That breaks a 10-10 tie, and the Rams are up on the Raiders 17-10 in the 3rd. Pat?
Here at Candlestick, 28-3.
Tell you, Pat, watch Chris Spielman, 54, dive here. For a linebacker, he is airborne there for about 10 yards, and then he hits and rolls another 5. There is a determined guy launching his body against the quarterback.
Henderson. That's a broom. Flag on the play. To about the 11. 9-yard pickup. Jamison on the stop. What a flag down.
I think Harris Barton is standing back here by the sideline like he did something wrong, or he's just looking at who did it. He's been a very steady player for the 49ers over the years, starting right tackle, #1 draft choice.
Holding offense number 88, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Moved to guard, then back to tackle.
Played some center.
That unselfish guy, very bright guy. Very good player, very solid player. And it wasn't he that was holding anyway, it was Mike Sherrard, so. But you don't mention those offensive linemen enough, I think. I mean, they're the guys that make what Steve Young does possible, what Jerry Rice does or John Taylor. They're the ones that give them the time and the opportunities to do that.
This is Henderson. About the 22 of gain of 5. Stopped by Toby Caston.
And they get hit every way. Watch Barton here. We'll just look at it on the clicker. Watch 79 here, Barton. You come, you make your tag, you make and you block good, you make good contact, and then watch what happens. You're blocking your guy, and then whap, they just hit you from behind and just keep you going. You know who they was? They was Jerry Ball.
That's a good name for him.
And you're blocking your guy, and here they come. All 9 and all 3 of them.
2nd and 13. Going through it. Incomplete. Intended for Henderson. Did you watch Jerry Ball on that play? He did a stunt, and I'm not sure whether he was a pass defender or what, but watch.
Well, sometimes you'll start on a stunt, and he gets a little late. He's tired now. He just starts on a stunt. Then he's going to go way around the outside, and he said, to heck with it. I'll never get over there. I mean, to be the nose tackle and have to run all the way around that end, he's going over there in the sideline to talk to the guy that called that stunt. He could never get there. Boy, that one gives me a headache.
3rd and 13, and Young back to throw again. Touchdown, Mike Sherrard. A strike from Young.
This is a perfect pattern. Sherrard's just running right down the middle. Steve Young hits him right there just before William White can get there. Sherrard was able to catch the ball, come under control, take the hit from White, and score the touchdown.
That's something that all these 49er receivers can do. Great balance and the ability to run after they catch the ball.
They get up and they come down and get under control as quickly as they can.
Again, a reminder that it's game 2 of the World Series tonight. The Minnesota Twins lead 1-0, having won last night by the score of 5-2. And here are the 2 pitchers for tonight. Glavine for Atlanta. Certainly a Cy Young Award candidate. Glavine. Tapani for Minnesota.
I like it when they got that thing now that measures how fast the balls are going. And I like it when they throw them up there around 100 miles an hour. I don't like those palm balls and stuff.
A couple of times Jack Morris yesterday we were watching. When the ball left his hand, it was 94 miles an hour. When it got across the plate, it was still 94 miles an hour.
That's what you call velocity. I wonder if they could measure how hard guys hit guys. You know, I mean, with that type of machine. You know, like when ball runs into the center, so pull it, boom! You know, what's that? I mean, that would be like 120.
That's scary. That's one thing. The Saints remain unbeaten. Their best start ever, and we'll be there next week as they face the Bears.
How about this? The 49ers have had the ball 30 minutes, 41 seconds. Detroit, 11 minutes and 9 seconds.
We're still in the third quarter. 3:10 left. Topher ready to kick it off. That's going to be Mel Gray at about the 1. And again, the 49er special teams an excellent job.
You know, and when you talk about the time of possession, this is how it relates to offensive plays. 49ers have had 55 offensive plays, Detroit only 24. Then this is how it relates to Barry Sanders. He's only carried the ball 6 times, and I don't think they've thrown him the ball yet.
No.
That was one of the things they wanted to do this year, was not only run him more, but also throw him the ball more, and they've done neither in this game.
Gets it outside to Mike Farr.
Good job.
11-yard gain, Detroit first down. Detroit's possessions today: the 1 field goal, 3 punts, a fumble, and an interception.
I'll tell you, that's a frustrating day. That's a frustrating day for an offense and offensive players and coaches and everything. Like Steve Bono's getting ready to go in there. Maybe they're going to get an opportunity. He's their only backup now.
Here's Pete to Perryman. Another first down.
Now, I tell you who has to be watching this game and feeling pretty good, the Chicago Bears. They won their game Thursday night. Detroit was a game ahead of them going into today. If Detroit loses, of course, they will be tied with the Bears.
Incomplete. Perriman was the intended receiver. Dennis Brown chased Pete out of the pocket.
Yeah, you keep wondering where Charles Haley is and Tim Harris, and you wonder why they aren't putting pressure on the quarterback now. And one reason is you can't find either one of them in there.
That's a big reason.
You say, geez, I haven't seen Tim Harris or Haley putting much pressure on. Well, you can't put pressure on if they're not in there.
Second down. Here comes the 49er blitz. And a collision at midfield. 6-yard pickup. But Robert Clark paid for that one.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Low passes and high passes, and quarterback, you like to get him down there low because you get it up there high, and the guy has to reach like that. When they reach like that, they take hits like that.
From both sides.
I'll tell you, the tough one is the number 41. You know, when you catch the ball and you come down and you have your ribs exposed. I think Johnny Jackson is the one that got that hit. There's the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. That's Dave Levy right there. Of course, it's a long day for players. It's also a long day for offensive coordinators when you're having a day like this.
A long trip back east. Robert Clark hasn't gotten rid of all the cobwebs yet.
The 49ers have really come alive, though, in this game.
Haven't they?
They were like just holding back. We went there yesterday, and they called off practice. They just had meetings, didn't even practice, and they had pads an extra day, pads all the way up to Thursday, took off Saturday, and I think they figured that we're as ready as we're ever going to be, and now we have to quit talking and just go out and play, and they sure did that today.
Well, if they can continue to play like this, don't count them out.
Yeah, I don't think you can count them out. I mean, I still go back to, at the end of last year, the two best teams were the 49ers and the Giants in the NFC, and I don't know that that's going to change that easily.
Perriman Got to about the 33-yard line. Johnny Jackson made the stop. Pete still limping.
Yeah, remember when Tim Harris hit him early? I think that aggravated that hip injury.
Here's Rodney Peete back to throw it again. He has Farr. Flag on the play.
This was the first week that Rodney Peete was able to practice all week. Before that, he would take off, and because of that hip and other injuries, he'd take off and just watch practice and then come out and practice on Friday and Saturday and play the game and
offensive pass
not
interference,
practice
number
Wednesday
81,
and Thursday.
10-yard penalty.
Against Farr.
First down.
You know, when Rodney Peete was coming out of college, I was playing in a Pro-Am golf tournament with Lou Holtz, the Notre Dame coach. And he was well down the list of quarterbacks drafted that year, but he said, I think at that time, this guy is going to be the best of the whole lot. Another flag on the play. Farr, the intended receiver.
Hey, and this flag was down here away. You see where the flag is? That's on the opposite side of the field from where the ball was thrown.
Against Detroit.
That's a funny penalty away from the ball. I mean, the ball was thrown off to the right, and this penalty was way down here on the left.
Offensive pass interference, number 86, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
You're going to see right there, you see he just pushes off, and then he tries to pick a guy. That's exactly what he tried to do. It was a pick, but the ball was thrown to the right side. It was a pick. That's something like you'd have in basketball or something, a pick away from the roll, or one of those words.
First and 30. That's Sanders. A typical Sanders move, but he's herded out of bounds close to midfield by Todd Bowles. He gained 4. Those are the quarterbacks drafted in 1989 ahead of Rodney Peete. Aikman, certainly no quarrel about his abilities. Elkins, Billy Joe Tolliver, Anthony Dilweg, Eric Wilhelm.
Three Jeffs.
The 3 Jeffs, yeah. And then Rodney Peete. 2nd and 26. Going to be incomplete, out of bounds. Caught by Willie Green.
You know, it has to be a tough thing too for Rodney Peete, or for his dad. Willie Peete is the offensive backfield coach for the Green Bay Packers. And that has to really be tough when the Packers play Detroit, you know, where you want to win the game, but your son's a quarterback on the other team.
A pretty good catch. Out of bounds, but still a good catch by Willie Green.
Someone will write about Willie Green somewhere. He has great concentration.
Flag on the play. Ball was loose for a moment.
That looks like a guy who's drained everything he has and left it on the field.
Number 9, coming out from under the center without the ball.
26 seconds left to play. Third quarter. 35-3. Excuse me, John.
No, I was just saying on that play, Kevin Glover didn't snap the ball. He was a center, and things are going so poorly that you don't even get the ball. Watch. Everyone moves. Pete comes back. Watch the center. He's still going and grumbling down there. Right, he still has the ball.
I don't think you can do that.
Well, we used to do that on the street. Remember, you'd put the ball in there, quarterback touch it, then you'd run with it. You can't do that. Quarterbacks didn't touch it.
Herman Moore came down with the ball. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The 49ers 35, Detroit 3. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Candlestick Park, Pat Summerall with John Madden, ready to start the fourth quarter with the 49ers leading the Lions 35-3. Arnold back to punt. Sanjay Beach standing down at the 10 for the 49ers. Another good punt. Into the end zone and a flag on the play. And a little scuffle breaks out.
I think when you get like 35-3, stuff like that's going to happen. And the special teams on both sides have been playing at a very high level of intensity all game.
Third quarter statistics. That's at the end of three quarters. The 49ers with 24 first downs, 30 minutes, 41 seconds on the clock. And the whole thing just tells you the story.
Yeah, you go back to that rushing thing again. One team 24, the other one 173. Coming into this game, you sure would have reversed that if you had to guess it.
Personal foul, number 38 on a return team. Penalized 10 yards. First down.
Personal foul called against Greg Cox.
Greg Cox is one of those tough guys who will get some of those. He's been battling all day on coverage. We've seen him a couple times where guys have hit him, grabbed his face mask. He's hit guys and all those type of guys. He's a real battler, Greg Cox is.
Watch number 38.
Well, here he is right there. That's what they're going to call him on. You see, he went to throw the shoulder, missed with the shoulder,
repeat first down,
threw the elbow and the fist. I think he loaded that thing up and shot an air ball.
That was with the full package.
Yeah, he let everything he had. I don't think he hit anything.
You know, we thought when we looked at the temperature here, just gotten a note from Phoenix. The temperature on the field in Phoenix for the Atlanta Phoenix Cardinal game was 120. And now for another NFL update, let's send you again back to our New York studios and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, at Phoenix, Tom Tupa goes up top from 31 yards out to Randall Hill. This one ties it at 10. Former Falcon Greg Davis has kicked a 51-yard field goal to put Phoenix on top of Atlanta, 13-10. Back to Candlestick, Pat and John.
Detroit getting another quarterback ready, Eric Kramer. So it looks like we'll have for most of the fourth quarter Bono and Kramer. There's Dexter Carter to about the 17-18 maybe. Steve Young in the last 2 weeks. That's a career for some. 40 out of 58. 585 yards. More and more confidence.
And I'll tell you, the thing that gave him a lot of confidence too was obviously the way he played, but he didn't have any interceptions. Those interceptions were a week ago, and that was the thing that he wanted to eliminate, and in eliminating those, he played almost perfect today.
Rathman on the move, and here's Bono back to throw. Got tight end Jamie Williams for a first down. Benny Blades made the stop, a gain of 19, however.
They are two happy quarterbacks. One, Bono, because he doesn't get to play that much, and the other, Steve Young. He's saying, "That a way to go, great." I'll tell you, that's good. That's what teammates and playing together and camaraderie and all those things are really all about. Also helps when you're ahead 35-3.
And you have that guy on your side, Jerry Rice.
You know, he made a big play too on that block. Remember Harry Sidney's run? Jerry Rice made a big block on that touchdown run.
Henderson straight ahead. Got a couple.
How'd you like to be the center? Jesse Sapullo, though, they finally take out Jerry Ball, who weighs over 300 pounds, and they put in Lawrence Pete, number 96, and he's another guy that'll tip those Toledos over 300 on you.
Yep.
So poor old Jesse saying, boy, I finally got rid of that Jerry Ball. Who's this guy? 96. Look at that. That 9 and 6 are almost split.
93 already did. Anderson again. 4-yard pickup.
I'll tell you, they play a lot alike, don't they? They get as close to the ball. They get paint to paint. That's what the players call it, paint to paint. And they just play the same way. I'll tell you, Jesse Sapullo is going to be one tired, sore guy after today's game. They ought to give him 2 paychecks. If Eddie DeBartolo's out of here, he ought to give Jesse a couple of paychecks for that. I mean, he had to block like 600-pound a guy all day.
3rd down and about 3 or 4. Anderson, the move man. Although back to throw. He gets Sanjay Beach enough for a 1st down.
There's a team that's really hung in there. You know what? The New York Jets.
They really have.
I mean, they had some tough things happen. They lost some tough ones, but they just kept coming back, and they're playing pretty well. I thought we'd see more of Barry Sanders today and see him do more things, but they never let him get out of the chute.
1st down at the 45. That's Rathman into Detroit territory, a gain of 7.
Hey, that guy doesn't like being over there in the sideline. What a match we had. A linebacker whose father at the age of 4 or 5 told him to go down there with the linebackers, and a quarterback whose dad tied his left hand so he wouldn't use it. I mean, they started, at 4 or 5 years old, they were getting ready to play this game.
2nd down, about 3. 49ers at the Detroit 48-yard line. That's Carter. 1st down. That's Summerall with John Madden, and we're at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. And you can see in the event you might have joined us late, that thick smoke hanging over the stadium from a fire, a 6-alarmer over in Oakland, which the last we heard was still not under control.
Well, you know, in Oakland, in relationship to San Francisco, is just over the Bay Bridge, so we're within 10 miles of that fire right now.
Benny Blades, remember, he got hurt on a touchdown earlier, the one by Jerry Rice. And it looks like he is probably through for the day. Rathman to the 40. Herb Welch made the stop.
They're just still running right up the middle. You see, you always keep that left hand loose when you're a nose tackle, because you never know what you're going to have to do with it. Your right hand is your down hand, so you keep that left hand loose and going, and then all the actions start. Boom, then you just hit into the center, look up the ball carrier, find him, and make the play.
Second down and 9.
Now there has to be a 3rd nose tackle in there. Both going for the water and the oxygen.
That's Dan Owens. This is Henderson. And another marker on the play.
Yeah, I go back to Jesse Sapullo, though. They've had Ball in there and Pete in there and Owens in there, but they've had Jesse stayed the same. He hasn't had any other guys come in to block for him.
Holding number 86 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
You know, that's the second or third holding penalty by a wide receiver. That's 86's Sanjay Beach. Watch him in a running play. He just goes up and grabs the guy. That's in lieu of blocking. And he blocked him. You wouldn't have to do that. If you don't block him, you have to do something that looks like that. That was ugly, terrible.
2nd and 16. That's Henderson. Henderson swings down to about the 37 in the arms of William Jenkins, a gain of 12.
You know, I just figured out, Pat, that Jesse Sapullo has blocked a total of 903 pound a guy today. Even has grass growing out of his head. You see that? Look, he got a divot. You wonder all the other things. I mean, he's really going to have to check to see what he has.
He's looking over to the side like, hey, you took out Harris Barton. You took out Foster. When do I get a rest?
There's his backup center, Thomas. Let him go in there and have a little of this action. Chuck Thomas has only been in camp a little week. A little of this action in a couple of weeks. A little of this action be good for him.
Bonos gets it out to Jamie Williams. Twisted to the ground inside the 30. William White tripped him up.
There was Robert Clark leaving, Pat. It looked like on the sideline they were checking his shoulder. Now they'll take him into the locker room, and every locker room in the NFL has a X-ray machine, so that's what they'll do. And someone must they finally decided, and they added up the poundage. Poor old Jesse blocked over 900 pound a guy today, so they're going to break.
He didn't spend too much time standing up when he got out of there, did he?
No, he wasn't going to stop and talk or anything. He just wanted to get down and get that load off his feet.
Sidney cuts back for 2 or 3. Now let's again send you back to New York to our studios and Greg Gumbel.
Well, Pat, in Los Angeles, a Ronnie Lott interception stopped a Rams drive in the end zone, and at the other end of the field, Nick Bell scores. The extra point ties the Rams and the Raiders at 17 apiece. 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Pat?
2nd down, San Francisco. There's Jesse.
You don't even care, but you just put it wherever it'll go and just hope it slides down into all the hot areas.
That's Sidney. Straight ahead. Dropped by Hunter. Today's game was produced by Robert D. Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. Senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin, and the executive producer is Ted Shaker. His team has produced today.
And I'll tell you, that's the first smile that's come across his face in a couple of weeks.
San Francisco has a 3rd down coming with about 4. They are 12 out of 13 in 3rd down conversions.
That's how you win.
Oh, Henderson in the backfield by Jeff Hunter. The 49ers the next 5 weeks now at Philadelphia, at Atlanta, at New Orleans, at the Rams, with Phoenix here at Candlestick. They've always been an excellent road team.
Yeah, and they can get well on that schedule there, because one of the teams they play, but 2, if you look at those 5 games, 3 of them, Atlanta and New Orleans and the Rams, are all division games. So they're really not out of this thing.
Kofor to try for a field goal, 46 yards out. Prokop, the punter, who hasn't punted all day, will hold. Wide right. So we have 3:30 left to play. 3.5 minutes left to play at Candlestick Park.
You know, if you look at the time of possession, 42 minutes to 14, but that's just time of playing. Then you say, well, what would the real time be? Then you just switch it. Detroit's small, San Francisco's big real time. I think the 49ers have had the ball for over 2 hours.
Well, I'm sure they have.
I know it. And that 42 minutes is a record. NFL record. Time of possession.
It's amazing the things you find out.
Yeah, well, you got that computer going all the time.
Kramer out of bounds. 49ers have rushed for 216 yards. Eric Kramer.
There's a guy that's had a good day. You know, his nickname is Woody. They say he looks like Woody on Cheers. And when he first came to the 49ers, they gave him that nickname as Woody. And now no one calls him Tom Rathman. Everyone just calls him Woody.
Perriman in motion, 2nd and 10. Kramer to throw it. Incomplete.
It was a tough day for Rodney Peete. He really didn't have a chance. He didn't have the ball much. Didn't get the running game going with Barry Sanders. Didn't get any passing game going. And it's one of those days that you just want to, I think, get the game over with, get the heck out of here, and look forward to the next game.
Third down and 10 at the 29. Kramer out of there, gets rid of it. Complete. Intended for Herman Moore. Brings up 4th. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League. And this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the San Francisco 49ers, and the National Football League is prohibited. Arnold to punt it. Beach back deep for the 49ers. They'll have a chance to do something with this one. Well, not much of a chance. So they'll take over the 49ers with 3:02 left to play. They lead it 35-3.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers, where you get the advantage. Today's Duracell, the copper top battery. And by the Upjohn Company. If you're concerned about hair loss, see your doctor.
3:02 left at Candlestick with the 49ers totally dominating the day. They lead 35-3. 1st and 10. And off to Henderson. A reminder again tonight on CBS 60 Minutes, the scene of the crime. A bus stop in London. The murder weapon, a poison umbrella. Who done it? The KBG knows who done it. 60 Minutes tonight on CBS. And of course the World Series comes after that. Barry Sanders, a tough day.
As I said before, I think that everyone was looking forward to seeing Barry Sanders, and the 49ers with their complete team just made sure that they didn't see any Barry Sanders.
Spencer Tillman, the relaxed and happy face of Jerry Rice as we approach the 2-minute warning. And Charles Haley enjoying their seats at the moment. 35-3. The 49ers have gotten it back on track. 35-3 with 2 minutes left, fourth quarter. 49ers from the beginning have dominated the clock and the contest.
Yeah, that's the way you should look after a football game. Not, you know, win or lose, forgetting that. But if you're a football player and you're playing in there and you're a linebacker, you ought to look like that after the game.
He looks a little like Rathman. There's Henderson. 7-yard pickup. Caston.
You know, that's one of those who would have thunk stats. You know, before you would have said just the opposite. You know, Detroit has Barry Sanders, the best running back in football. He said, oh yeah, well, they'll run about 52 times, and the 49ers, they can't run at all. The only guy that can run for them is Steve Young. Yeah, they'll probably do it 8 times. Look at those numbers.
Henderson has 20 carries for 104 yards.
That's another who would have thunk.
2nd and 3, isn't it, though? Oh, no, just we'll let it run out. Just a minute left.
I think that when you're Wayne Fonts and the Detroit Lions, you want to just get out of here and forget about this one and not dwell on it and get your team ready for next week. In fact, Wayne Fonts was saying last night after they got beat in the first game by the Washington Redskins, that's what they did. They just said, forget that. That's just 1 of 16. Let's get ready for the next one. Then they went 5 in a row. Now they got to go back and say, hey, that's just 1.
Did all that work today. Frustrating day for Sanders. So for John Madden, Pat Summerall saying so long from Candlestick Park, where the final score was San Francisco 35, Detroit 3. Stay tuned for the NFL Today postgame show. Greg and Terry will have all the scores, the highlights, and latest information. You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Well, welcome back to New York, everyone, on the post-game show. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Let's remind you first tonight on CBS. 60 Minutes is next, except in the Pacific and Mountain time zones. The scene of the crime, a bus stop in London. The murder weapon, a poison umbrella. Who done it? Well, the KGB knows who done it. 60 Minutes tonight. Then CBS Sports presents Game 2 of the 1991 World Series between the Atlanta Braves and the Minnesota Twins. And our pregame coverage begins at 8 o'clock Eastern time with Baseball 91. And then it's game time. Tom Glavine, the left-hander, takes the mound for Atlanta against Kevin Tapani for the Minnesota Twins. Now, let's run down some of the early scores for you today at the Superdome in New Orleans. The Saints ran their record to 7-0 with a 23-7 win over the Tampa Bay Bucks. This tie is a club record, Terry, for consecutive victories, 9 in a row dating back. But the big thing is that defense and 6 sacks on Chris Chandler.
Yeah, you know, we said early on NFL Today that Steve Walsh would start in place of A-Bear, but he wouldn't hurt him because they would run a ball control offense, play action. He had a nice day, but once again, 6 sacks at defense. No reason, you know, if you're wondering why they're the best in NFL, just see this game.
And the New Orleans Saints play the Chicago Bears next week, and most of you will see that here on CBS. At Joe Robbie Stadium, the Houston Oilers survived the Dolphins 17-13 today. Chris Dishman, a fumble recovery. He has at least an interception or a fumble recovery now in 6 consecutive games for Houston. The New York Jets moved their record to 4-4 on the year. They beat the Indianapolis Colts. Colts now without a TD in 7 of the 8 games they've played, and of course they've lost all 8. In overtime, overtime, Jason Starowski kicked a 42-yard field goal. New England beat the Minnesota Vikings by a score of 26-23. And at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, the Seattle Seahawks welcomed David Craig back to the starting job as quarterback. He led the Seahawks to a 27-7 win over Pittsburgh. And we'll have more for you here on the NFL Today postgame show in just a moment. The rest of the score is happening today. The San Francisco 49ers brought the Lions back down to earth. They crushed the Lions today by a score of 35-3. Steve Young, 18 of 20, 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Lions fall to 5-2. Atlanta at Phoenix, winding down in the final minutes. The Cardinals leading that game 16-10. The Rams and the Raiders, this one went down to 2 seconds to go in the game. Jeff Jager from 33 yards out for the second week in a row. The Raiders rally to win one on a Jager field goal. The Raiders over the Rams 20-17. Denver and Kansas City are in the final minutes. The Broncos lead it on a David Treadwell field goal 19-16. And San Diego and Cleveland are in the fourth quarter tied at 24. Don't forget 60 Minutes next, except in Pacific and Mountain time zones, and then Game 2 of the World Series. For Terry, I'm Greg. We'll see you next Sunday.